Check it out, guys. Just picked up a 1982 Kawasaki KZ1000 LTD that's been sitting for 35 years. Since 1988, I'm told, but you guys be the judge of that. Throughout this video, we'll see how things are looking. It's got this Vetter windscreen on it, which I'm not too much a fan of because it like hides the headlight behind there. But if you guys ride, you know, on long trips, wind protection is absolutely key. It's cool. It's got a built-in Clarion radio with a tape deck on it too. Got the factory Kawasaki LTD sissy bar on it. You see the license plate, last registered 1988 and 1986 inspection. Actually, I think it has inspection up on the forks too. It's expired in 88. Of course, these days nobody inspects their bikes, but I think a long time ago when police enforced a lot more, everybody did inspect their bikes. I love that it has the factory exhaust on it. I could see wherever it was stored, obviously in a garage because it's pretty decent, but there was no humidity control or temperature control because these cases were sweating over the years. And just sitting here next to the bike, I mean, I can smell old gas. The choke is locked up on it, the petcock locked up, and the tank, listen to that. Not a good sound. No keys for this bike, but I got it for 500 bucks, so that's an unbeatable deal. I mean, this engine alone is probably worth $1,000. And this is showing only 3,417 miles, so if that speedo still works, I mean, yeah, that's probably gonna be accurate. Oh wow, this tank is junk. Look at that, it's paper thin. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. So another cool thing about this bike, this exact year, make, model, color was my first street bike ever. I bought it out of the Trenton, or was it, yeah, Trenton Times newspaper classified section, $1,000. So this is gonna kind of bring back memories for me. I'm already feeling the energy. It's got the Bridgestone Magmopus tires on there. Let's get it unloaded, see what we can do. Now, unloading the bike like this, usually super easy if you have operational brakes. I haven't tried pushing the brakes yet because I assume they're gonna lock up, but we'll see. Oh yeah, that almost went south. The brakes worked, but on this super slick steel deck, it just started sliding until it hit the ramp and the bars cocked. See, it's got the factory bars. Yeah, I believe these are, and on mine I had the kind of the sport racing bars, but with these taller, skinnier bars, you really don't have as much force. When these bars start turning like this, you don't have the leverage that you need. Once it goes halfway, like you're beat. You know, if you have bars down here, you have a lot more leverage on that steering. Wow, that almost came over on me. Of course, it helps if you're 6'3", though if you're shorter, it's going to be hard to unload a bike that's heavy like this. This thing probably weighs 600 pounds. Wow, look at that seat. That held up so nice. That's how you know this was in the garage and kept under out of the sunlight. It was kept under cover for sure. How about these boots? Oh, look at that. Look how soft they are. These boots are always so dry rotted from all the riding. There's no corrosion there because the gas is constantly blowing back and dries the rubber out, and also just age. But as you can see, wow, factory boots, no dry rot. I'm just amazed by that because every bike I used to tinker with, I mean, I had really probably over 100 motorcycles in my time messing around. I used to buy and sell a lot, and they were always dry as could be, hard as a rock. Oh, I hate that Vetter. I mean, it's retro, it's neat, the rooster, but it just destroys the look of the bike, in my opinion. I'm sure varying opinions on that. I guess it gives it that goofy 70s, 80s look though. It's cool. I do like it. What am I talking about? What do we got for oil? Sight glass, tilt the bike over, tilts upright, and there you go. A little overfilled. Fork seals aren't leaking. I'm sure they will once it gets ridden. Boy, it has been tough to find some time to tear into this, but 3 in the morning, I think I finally got enough time to get these carburetors off, get them soaking, because unlike cars, motorcycle carburetors, ATVs, power sports, whatever, these things do not fare well when you leave old fuel. Let's see. Oh yeah, now we're talking. So to get this tank off, we do need a key because we got to pop the seat open. These covers, these are probably worth $100 on eBay. Made in Japan, all the tabs still intact. These are really, really good shape. Of course, I'll probably step on them by mistake. Yeah. Well, that don't look too hard to break into. I'm gonna try raking this lock real quick. Otherwise, we'll probably take the access the hinges on the other side a bit. Yeah, let's see what that looks like over here. Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't get the pins out. They got a little piece of steel in the way. You can get the cotters and almost slide these pins. That would be too easy, right? There it is. Didn't take too long at all. Wow, look how minty this thing is. This is incredible. We got the owner's manual. Yeah, look at that. KZ1000 K2. This is, I'm pretty shocked. And see what I was saying about those pins, has this little piece of metal so you can't slide the one out. You can get this out, but not that I mean anybody wants to get it off, they'll just rip it anyway, right? Those hoses are dry. No luck picking that tank lock yet, but then I figured, hey, why don't I just get a key made? So I pulled out the cylinder for the seat, and sure enough, that has the key code on the side. Call Kawasaki dealer tomorrow, see if we can have them make a key, since we do have a title in hand for this. Have the choke operating, and before I pull these carbs, let me drop one bowl, because for all I know, this thing was drained when it was stored, and they're just spick and span inside. Spick and span, what does that even mean? I don't know. Well, no, I'm using the Phillips on a JIS. Look at that, they worked fine and didn't round it out. How about it? Here we go. What do you guys think? Oh, well, minus that permanent sludge on the bottom there. Look at that. They are just brand new inside. But of course that means, I'm sure the idle jets are still clogged and the float's stuck. Yup, look at that. See that float, that's not gonna unstick with just a little bit of a tap. So yeah, we gotta pull these out. But that, yeah, that's, it doesn't even smell anymore. That's how long it's been sitting. much easier when the boots aren't all dry rotted. I bet you all the CV slides are locked. Yep, see? Oh, there it goes. That one's good. This one, it's locked up tight, but there you go. Yep, oh, that one's really tight. There it is. So without going through the air box and doing that, even if we were gonna run this without taking the part, wouldn't have worked. We are bone dry, and you can hear those floats. They're all locked up. Here's a look inside. The main jets are actually all clear except for that one's blocked up solid. And I think I'll soak these first because all this, like we gotta get these plugs out. That's where the idle jets are. They're kind of just locked in. Looks like they're peened over too, but this stuff's glue. You see it looks like it's liquid, but it's not. You know, as I was already showing you. It's tar, so it's kind of holding everything together, including sticking these floats in. And looks like all of our constant velocity stack boots are good. We don't have any. Look at that's how many miles are on this. There's just no wear at all on these slides. This thing's gonna run like a top, provided the engine doesn't have rusty cylinders, which I don't think it will, based on everything we're seeing so far. We'll bore scope those tomorrow. It's amazing how well this material holds up over all the years. Another sign that these have never been messed with is that the fuel screw still has the caps over them. Let's drill a little hole and thread any old screw into it. Pop the cap out. And we can get our fuel mixture screw. Or we're getting these dialed in good later. I'm sorry, don't forget your spring in there. Apply a touch of heat to these plugs. There we go, that was enough to loosen up the sludge. See, if I try just grabbing these, it won't go. Just heat up that sludge a little bit. Little heat goes a long way with most applications. There's an O-ring in there too though, so you know, too much heat would be bad. Emulsion tubes aren't all completely fouled up. This one a little bit up top, but usually these little side holes get real nasty. Luckily on these Kawasaki's, they have a replaceable needle and seat. Well, replaceable seat. You can always replace the needle. And I think these have screens on the other side of them too. Yeah, right there. So sometimes those get all blocked up. It's important to have a good fuel pre-filter, otherwise these just get completely caked with rust and crud. And you can see, even though I got the floats moving, the needle is completely seized in there. At this point, I'm going to take all the brass parts and drop them in some Berryman Chem Dip. Let that sit in there for a few hours. And I was going to put these in too, but I don't want to mess these brand new gaskets up. Something very important on these Kawasaki bowls is you see that little port down there? It'll often get clogged up with a piece of junk or whatever sitting toward the bottom of the bowl. And that is very important. That's your choke circuit, actually. So if you look down here, there's a little jet too. And that jet will get blocked up. That choke circuit comes into this brass jet too. You can see very small orifice, and those very often will get jammed up. You see it comes up there, up at the top, and then that is your chokes going across the whole thing. And for these, I'll just set them up top and suck a little juice, fill each one up. Next day, let's see how we're looking. Hopefully these are, yeah, pretty much spick and span. I'll just agitate those a little bit, spray them out. Yeah, it chewed that stuff right up. Okay, the bottom's just packed. At least it softened it up though. Let these soak for a little bit longer with some carb cleaner. And for the small parts, oh yeah, those are looking beautiful. It's nice that these needle and seats, they don't have rubber tips. And you see they fell out too. They were stuck in before. Plungers work on them. Oh, actually that plunger's locked, but I'll get that working. And these O-rings should be replaced, but they actually swelled up a good amount. And they're not cracked, so I think we'll run them. Speaking of O-rings, some other ones that can be problematic is in between the carburetors. Yeah, I did spray some lubricant on these, and so that way bring them back to life. If they ain't leaking and these tubes aren't cracked, leave them alone, because splitting these carbs apart, you kind of mess with the synchronization. Pain in the butt. On these fuel needles, you got to make sure the little plunger on the top operates. And a few of them, yeah, see that one's locked up. You should be able to press it in with your finger like that. So we're gonna force it in and then soak it, exercise it. There it goes. And you just put another shot of carb cleaner on there, pump it back and forth. Should be good, especially once it gets gas. If you only get it budging a little bit, it's being stubborn, then you put it in a pool of carburetor cleaner, pump it up and down to work that crud. Got these bowls the rest of the way cleaned up. You can see that choke circuit still clogged. It's not flowing, and also this rusty screw we want to get out. So we can give it a little poke, run that down in. Work it around. Don't worry if you enlarge it a little bit. More fuel's always better when you're trying to start. That's what we're looking for. Now I'm getting these slides wiped down. Got to make sure you get the junk ridge off of there. That'll obstruct atomization and flow. And the last step is going to be taking carb cleaner, blowing through every single orifice, making sure we have flow through all the circuits, including the choke circuit. And you guys are probably wondering right now, why didn't you just throw this thing in the ultrasonic cleaner? Well, the reason is it wasn't all that dirty. You know, I'll get this junk blown off. And I didn't want the water-based solution getting inside of these shaft bores and whatever. You just didn't need to. I've been doing it this way forever. Works fine. And even if you use an ultrasonic cleaner, you're going to have to go through and do all this anyway, make sure all the circuits flow. So just make sure to wear safety glasses. Got it all blown out. All of the main air jets were clogged, and also the choke tubes were clogged too. Put a brand new fuel hose on there with a clamp, and checking the bench synchronization on these. You could see, so this screw adjusts this pair of throttle flaps to this pair of throttle flaps, and then each of these ones adjust these two together. So the way you synchronize these carbs, which we'll probably check later, is you adjust these outer ones first and then the center ones. But anyway, I mean, looking at it, I can see the throttle cable attaches right here in the center, and I can see they look perfect. You can shine a light through there to really get a good idea, but you can see they've never been touched either. The factory yellow paint is on those screws. They've never been budged, so not gonna be an issue. I like to take grease and put a little coating on the gaskets where these seat to the bowls. That way these don't seep as much over the years, as sometimes, you know, these old gaskets will kind of, you won't see it seeping, but they'll let a little bit of gas kind of absorb out of the gasket. And this grease helps it, and also helps when you go to remove it again in the future. And then also grease all the O-rings, like in particular on these seats, needle seats. Now, yes, that O-ring should have been replaced, but this is not going to leak. That'll be fine. I've seen much worse seal, as long as they're not cracked or flattened completely. Grease the idle jet plug O-rings too. Now, if you were to replace any O-rings, I suppose these idle jet plugs would be pretty much the most important, because if these O-rings don't seal, it'll allow fuel past and then bypassing the main jet causing it to run really rich. Now for the fun and rewarding part, putting it all together. Oh yeah, those O-rings, nice snap in on them. Good amount of resistance for these seats. There we go, all together. This thing's gonna run like a top. Let's take a look at the cylinders and then slap these on. No rust on the tips. These articulating borescopes are amazing. I always have a link to them down in the description when I use them in videos. Amazon, check them out. So hopefully you can see this screen okay. This piston's toward top dead center, but I don't see any major rust. I don't think we're gonna have a problem on this engine, honestly. I'm only checking it because it's so easy to pop the plugs are right in your face. On the next cylinder, we have a valve open, you can see. You know, nice crosshatch pattern. You can see a little bit of rust. Ooh, and some corrosion on that bore. And then over here, we got, same thing. It's just dry. A little bit of surface rust. And same deal. Of course, this piston's toward the top too. Yeah, let's shoot some lube in there and crank it over. Do I hear a mini dachshund? What are you doing? What are you doing out here, huh? Let's go run, come on. Oh, leave me hanging, eh? Leave me hanging. Go get him. Gus, go get him. Alright, somebody doesn't want to play. Says, yeah, I'm good. Says, yeah, you're always pointing that camera at me. And I don't even get no pay. Except for a junky old bone sometimes. You gonna be able to pick that up and bring it in? Give up? What's Nuggy doing over here? Taking a big old nap? He looks zonked. Yeah. Oh, he's got a little smile. Okay, I'll let you nap. Little tip, if you're ever doing a rack of carbs like this, don't bother putting the boots on because these are a real barrier to get on there properly. Start the bike, run it, make sure the floats are sealing and they don't have to come back off because you waste your time putting those on. Now you guys might be wondering how we're going to start this or crank it over. We could easily hot wire it and use the starter relay. But I went over to Action Lock and Safe, I think it's called, over in Bristol. Got a set of keys made just by the key code. So let's see. Oof. Okay. It went a little tight. Maybe you have to tag that with a wire brush, but let's see. This is the big boy. Should be the same key. Yes. All right. And now we can also take a look inside of this fuel tank. Oh, all right. So no wonder I wasn't able to pick that. I think it's so gummed up. Shoot a little bit more PB in there. And we can apply a little bit of heat. Some of you guys are probably like, what are you doing? That's a fuel tank. But no, this fuel is not going to be volatile at all, like whatsoever. And I think this cap is aluminum, so it'll transfer the heat pretty good down into the latch. There it goes. A little bit of heat, a little bit of vibration. That's it. All right, so that right there, like if you guys don't already think it's been sitting for 30 years, that's proof. Boom. Oh man, that is really bad, guys. And you know, like, yeah, could you cream this tank? Sure. Oh, it's I can't believe how thick that is. Look at it. I mean, all the metal is just turned to oxide, iron oxide. And but as you guys saw in the beginning, like the thing is just paper thin. If I took this screwdriver and tapped it, it would go right through. Needs a tank, period. Or cream it if you really want to, you know, get a little bit more use out of it. It's a shame because it is in good shape, and often these will usually rust right at the bottom all the way through, especially at this seam, mostly on like the 80s sport bikes, Kawasaki Ninja and stuff. They made those tanks really, really thin. See what we got for a battery. Old school Yuasa. You can see the sulfation. It's nice it has a clear-ish casing so you can really see what's going on there. Like, it's plain as day. It's actually not as sulfated as you would think. I wonder if there's a date anywhere on here. Wow, made in Reading, PA. This might be the code here. I'm seeing 8687. So that would make sense. What's great is that the battery tray is not all rusted out. Just a tiny bit of surface rust there. I think we can get away with using a car battery and some small cables. And let's see what we got for a crank. There it is. Well. Oh, not going. Probably the solenoid.
You mentioned Catholic teaching a few times.
Go.
I've never heard any priest at a homily on Sunday against the...
Oh, we're on AM right now. Okay. This is great. That's probably copyright-free music, too. Really boosting my morale. And we got 2 wires going to the starter solenoid. Get a test light on these. Yeah, not getting anything. Let's hear that crank. Very nice. So plugs in crank. I'm good with it. How about some spark? These things have electronic ignition. Nothing, and it sounds like maybe we got some sticky valves. I don't know if you guys heard that on the compression. Now, with all of our fuses being good, don't see any disconnected wires, anything chafed up, chewed up. Let's chase this back. And that leads us here. See what we got going on. Oh, key on. I got absolutely nothing. You know what? I got a manual for this. Right up there. We need the manual anyway because I want to see what the fuel screw turns out are on it. Here we go. Oh, full color wiring diagram. That's nice. Let's before I forget about it, let's do the, you guys probably can't read this, but 1 1/4 turns out on the idle mixture screw. That's half, one, you go 1/2, 1/2 on each of them. This is so much better than looking up the diagram online. So we have got engine stop switch, the starter button, got this red, so that should be power all the time. In the black, this probably goes over to the solenoid, starter disconnect switch. And yes, over to the solenoid. So yeah, this red must not be getting hot. Oh, and it's tied in with the ignition coils. All right, so that makes sense. So we don't spark. And that goes over to the integrated circuit igniter unit. And the pickup coils send to there, so hopefully that's not bad. Our IC igniter is right there. It's all plugged in. Those wires from the IC come up here, and I kid you not, I'm poking around. I had no power on this, and I'm wiggling all these connectors, and now I have power. I'll bet you it's gonna work fine now. Look at that. Just some corrosion on the connectors, probably. I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds? All right, well, that wasn't much of a diagnostic. I mean, just wiggle wires and hit things, right? And yes, you get lucky sometimes. Did you get booted out? You're being obnoxious, Mommy says. Come run with him. I tried running with him earlier. You wouldn't run with me. Oh, now you got the energy. Let's see if we got spark, get some fuel, and hear this thing run. Yes, spark. And let's note the level on here and send some fuel to these carbs. Give them a listen. We're dropping. A couple taps, good luck taps, so those needle and seat seal. We got no leaks. Time to listen to this KZ purr. Woo! Not hitting all four yet, I don't think. There it is. Okay, a bunch of tweaking and messing around with it. Finally got it running good. Of course, it's warmed up right now, so that doesn't mean it's going to run great when it's cold. I probably should have rejetted this. These things are all jetted so lean from the factory, but it's running good enough to ride it tomorrow. I guess we got to check out the brakes first. Yeah, that's what a KZ1000 is supposed to sound like. Get all that junk coming out though. Look at this. Woo! I'm gonna let this clear out in here and then we'll drop the oil. Not that dirty. Even with the low mileage, this has definitely been changed a few times based on what this crush washer looks like. Maybe just changed it every year from 82 to 87. Should have an oil filter in stock. Maybe not. Well, maybe up there. Provided it's the same one that my 78 takes. Yeah, no, not the 138. Maybe I don't have one. Oh well, I'll just spill and fill the oil for now. Got some 1040. Borrowed the lithium-ion battery out of my jet ski. Trying out one of these NOCOs. So far, so good. First year. See how many years it holds up. Because if you guys know, with these power sports batteries, at least with my luck, I always get a couple years out of them, and I usually put them on trickle charger, and I just 2-3 years and they're shot. Like this one's a 2020, but I just use it for like light bulbs and stuff. It doesn't have enough for juice in the starter at all. Chain adjustment's pretty good. Very dry though. Hit it with some chain lube. Now for the brakes, this little rust, that'll clear right off. I can feel the master cylinders pumping, but nothing back here. So either our pistons are stuck or more than likely a blockage in one of these hoses. Let's see if I force it. Oh, there it goes. You guys heard that? I'm gonna see if I can massage these back to life. Oh, see, now it's locked up. So that's gonna be just the pistons, probably some rust in there. And yeah, not good. Let's flush some new fluid into here, because what's in there is pretty black and nasty. Fill her up with some Freshie. Oh yeah. Listen to all that junk coming out. Lot of crud. Get to hear it shooting through. See what that fresh fluid did for us. How they release now after full hard press. Okay, I'm still sticking just a little bit. Oh, not the pins. Those are greased, feel good. Mount the pads. Those are floating, plenty of meat on them. It is the piston. Then we're gonna push this out a fair bit. That far, but not too far. Just far enough to expose all that corrosion. And I'll take some emery cloth, well, actually a Brillo pad to that, and then push it back in. Just make sure not to push the piston out too far, otherwise you're spilling fluid everywhere. Or, you know, just get a seal kit for it. That's just real light corrosion. Really, the bore needs to get cleaned out. However, taking this piston out, you're almost opening the can of worms, because then there might expose some pitting on the walls in there. And I mean, if you can spin your piston in the bore, you're in good shape. Then squeeze it back in. I don't know why I took that bolt out. How about now? Pump these up. And look at that. Lock, spin, lock, spin. Fixed. For free too, which is nice. Just noticed on this pickup cover, which by the way, these covers will shine up really nice. You could actually buff these to be like a mirror. I noticed the grommet is sticking out, so we don't want rainwater getting up in there. Let's correct that. Brand new in there. Actually, the gasket, I guess some of it got stuck on the cover too, huh? Yeah, it did. See, that looks so much better. Now, these front brakes actually work pretty good, as you saw when I was taking them off. The brake fluid was leaking for a little bit. Over time, it caused all the paint to peel off. Low up here on the level. Oh, held tight. Not getting any flow out of that left front caliper at all. I get the bleeder open, nothing, rock hard. Let's see if we force it. There it goes. So that's flushed enough to use these brakes, but should definitely be done again after riding the bike, because there'll be other junk that loosens up. Since this side wasn't getting any brake pressure, it might be that these pistons could be stuck too. We'll find out. Oh, I got sticking brakes on the front now. Just gotta do the same thing I did on the rear. Push the piston out, clean it up, lube it, done. Unless they're really bad, then you need the rebuild kits. And with both sides done, we got a good spinner, and a nice firm lever, rock solid, let go, spins. That's fixed. Well, I ain't proud of it, but I think I gotta pull these back off. I think there's an issue with the choke side circuit on these two. Because it's not until it warms up that it's actually hitting all four. There it before I take that car back off, mess with it, I'm gonna just blow it out tomorrow, ride it, and hope these tires don't blow up on me. See if that cleans it up. Oh yes, the tank. So we'll Mickey Mouse something on there tomorrow. I did just hop on eBay, I was looking up some used tanks. Yeah, $300 for something that doesn't have rust is pretty much what I saw. I just, again, you could clean and seal that. I'm not gonna. I'd rather get a good used one. That thing's paper thin. Time for a gas tank and a ride. Still got plenty of daylight left today. Done doing all my stuff that's important, and I got perfect idea for a fuel tank. I was thinking, let's try and borrow the gas tank off this 78 KZ1000, which I don't think I've ridden this since I changed the oil last October. 10,338. Oh, 359. So okay, maybe I rode it once after then, but yeah, this might be a close enough fit, even though it's the previous generation. Should probably take this out and start it too. You know, that gas gets old. You can see sitting in the carport how much barn dust, you know, this acquires in just a year. It's kind of a dusty environment in there. And you might be saying, oh, why don't you put a cover on it? But the truth is, cover invites the animals. They see that, they'll chew the cover up, or they'll be like, oh, this is a good place to go make a home. That's what I've found anyway. And being in the carport, as I've shown previously, I mean, you can't really fight. You could spray the cases with like WD-40, but as the temperature fluctuates all the time, you're gonna get corrosion on stuff too. That's why I don't have perfect bikes. You know, this was never perfect when I got it. Just a runner rider, and I love it that way. That's what's awesome about this one too. Is like, if you're looking for a mint one of these, they pop up occasionally. You see them for 4 or 5 grand, super minty. But even if you wanted to detail this and bring it all back, it's never ever going to be mint, because there is going to be pitting and stuff where this rust is that people will find. It's a little rough around the edges, which is perfect for me. I just realized I've been recording a lot of this video on Super View with this camera. So hopefully it came out all right. Well, kick back. Okay, so we ran some new gas into those, and this tank just has a rubber strap. Pop these hoses off, good to go. Might not fit perfectly, but worth a try. Ooh, not gonna be a great fit. Well, I ain't proud of it, but it'll work. I mean, get some blocks down here, shirts, a couple straps, zip tie. It's on there. It's one of those plans where, like, I should have just gave up in the beginning and be like, it's not gonna work. But I just kept pushing, kept going. I'm like, yeah, we'll get it. Just gotta make sure not to jackknife the bars, because it will dent the tank. And this tank already has dents all over it and scratched paint and rust on the other side. So not worried. That's about as legit as we're gonna get looking. That looks better than strapping a 5-gallon jug, I think. By the way, if any of you guys happen to have a good used KZ1000 gas tank from like 81, 82, something that would fit this, let me know. If you got a reasonable price for it and it has no rust, I'd be interested. Let's go for a spin. I'm getting some pinging. Pretty bad, actually. I mean, this is old fuel in here, but wasn't a problem on the other. All that means is we just can't romp on it, because I don't want to blow the motor. Let's go get some octane booster. I don't know how well these octane boosters work. We go from 629 all the way up to 27 bucks. Eliminates knocking and pinging. These just say reduce knocking and pinging. I think we'll just go middle of the road. Oh boy, ain't she pretty. The tank almost matches with the goofy looking windshield. Now, if this tank wasn't just about full, I would go top it off with premium, but let's see what this does. One can does 15 gallons. I'll do half a bottle. overdo it a little bit, you know? It should be kind of ran through the system now. Let's see. There it is. Still some thinking. Yeah. It's got a watch going around these, turning with the dry rotted tires, you know. Not a lot of grip. Got some balls. I'll never forget my buddy Adam brought his KZ1000, I think it was, in the Pine Barrens. Every time he hit the sand, he just ate it. And the one time he fell, these fins laid on his leg. Man, he had his cooling fins burned in for quite some time, a scar. Maybe he had a 650, I don't remember, but basically identical looking engine. Now there is one way to bring a little bit more life back to these old dry, hard tires. A little squirrely off the line. And if you really want to, heat the tires up, you got to rock it to the edges too. I didn't want to do that with this bike because, well, it's pretty heavy, and I don't like these bars. You don't have, again, you just don't have a lot of leverage off the center. I mean, look, imagine riding with bars that are this long. That's what it feels like. If that makes sense to you guys. Let's see what jams are on.
Age of online sales. Well,
come on. Here we go. See, now these tires got some bite. Slippery. I will say this motorcycle is a little cramped for someone over 6 foot. Like the seats, I don't know. It's comfy, but would like a little bit more real estate. One cool thing is the self-canceling turn signals. They turn off after about either 6 or 12 blinks. I don't know what actually times it, but self-canceling. That's cool. So, here is the deal. I thought about just, buy, sell, get rid of this thing, but I think I'm gonna get the new tanker, clean out the old one if it's salvageable. I think I've talked about that a dozen times. Maybe not a whole carb kit, but I definitely want to get the O-rings for the idle jet plugs, and I think I might have to take this back off when it was cold starting. It's a little weird. It might be part of the reason it's pinging. I think it could be running lean. Maybe there was some other stuff floating around in there. But this bike has some things to offer. I mean, you have the nice wind protection, a radio. I don't have any of those on my bikes. The quiet exhaust. As I get older, I am such a fan of quiet factory exhaust. See those rear discs, disc cleaned up great. It gives me that I'm 17 again feeling when I ride it, since it's the same model as I used to have. As I said before, the fact that it's all rough, you're stored outdoors. Yeah, it's going to deteriorate some over the years, but when I have something that's immaculate, I don't like holding on to it, because in my possession, it just degrades. Like, I'm pretty abusive on stuff and usually not stored climate controlled. So for messing around with it a couple days, I'm happy with the progress. You guys are probably like, oh, I can't believe you didn't do the tank. Well, I try to usually spend a day or two, maybe 3, tinkering with this stuff and see if we can get it street road worthy. This could make it cross country right now, even with that tank, just as is. I'd ride this in California right now. What you eating, boy? I saw that. I can't beat the autumn colors. And this little girl right here, little baby Autumn, she has been causing us to have a hectic schedule. Can't get as much done, constantly jumping off of stuff, but it's nice fall evening, and figured just bring her out to see some of the colors, try to get her outside a few times a day. What do you think? Look at all that stuff. Oh yeah, wow. Just looking around like this is way cooler than inside. Mommy sees me walking you by the beehive, she probably wouldn't like that too much, but you're gonna get lots of exposure. What's up, Turbs? Saw you sniffing that car. So Gus has been very good. I've been kind of training him not to lick her face. He's always going for that. I think he's finally starting to get the idea, right, Bubs? And Turbo is not very much interested, but if she's being bad and crying, sometimes I bring her out here and just lay her on the deck for a minute. Hey, hey! No licks. Otherwise, she has been getting a lot better with the refluxing issue, and that's amazing. Slowly but surely getting stronger and gaining an ounce at a time. I want to thank you guys very much for tuning into the video, especially if you watch this far. That helps out big time. And what also helps is you guys that have hopped on NoNonsenseKnowHow.com and picked up shirts, hats, and all that kind of stuff. I see those sales come through, and thank you so much. My buddy Nat down in Cherry Hill, he prints everything in-house, takes care of the shipping, so it's really, really seamless and great right now. I'll definitely be doing more on this bike, but probably not a dedicated video, just at the end of another one in the future, which I know makes it like hard to find that. But the motorcycle videos, they just don't generally have as many people that are interested to see, you know, will it run or work on a motorcycle, but I enjoy it very much working on these. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video, learned a few things, or enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. No Nonsense, Know How.